All right, guys, we're ready to get started with Coach. You can use the raise your hand function. We'll begin with Rob Lewis and Ryan Shumpert and Wes Rucker.
Coach, just what went into the decision to start Brandon? Was that just a size thing?
Well, we had thought a lot of different, the last couple of days, we really had put a lot of thought in it. But to be quite honest with you, Josiah and Santi, those guys that coach, and they told Brandon, hey, we're going to tell coach to start you. You've been wanting a chance to play. Now we're going to put you out there, but you got to play for us and come out and do it. And I thought he really got himself ready to play early, and it allowed us to keep with a 7-2 post guys that want, like we started out with Urosh experience with Brandon, learning what it's about. And then we were able to go with Folke and Jonas, who the last 10 days seems like he's starting to understand more what it's about. And I thought both of them did great jobs for being in a game this time of year with what's on the line here, playing against a front line like Mississippi State has. But it was a great team win. But I like the fact that those guys, because we had talked about matchups, obviously concerned about early foul trouble, but that's what I like about this group. Now they're starting to take ownership. It's their team. And when they start talking and making suggestions like that, it gives you a really nice feeling as a coaching staff.
How pleased were you with the rebounding? Then we lose that deficit by 2 without Olivier gets a good front court, having to run a lot of that zone in the second half.
Well, we knew they were going to pound it inside, and we fouled way too much early, but you got to give them credit for that. They put such intense pressure on you inside, and we knew that with those shots in there, they get it on the glass. It was going to be a high level physical game around the rim. And first half we did okay, and obviously at the end when we went in zone, our biggest concern was, could we rebound out of it? And for the most part, the zone was good because at least it took time off the clock and it didn't allow them to score at the free throw line like they were throughout the game. But again, again, they're a hard team. I mean, they pound that ball inside that 10-foot area and go get it. But overall, again, I thought our guys really, really battled, especially the last 4 minutes trying to come up with those loose ball rebounds.
Rick, I know injuries are part of the game, but when big ones happen, they can sort of shock, even people who've been around the game for a long time. And, after just a couple of days after you learn about Olivier, then you see Kennedy kind of go down there clutching his leg. What's going through your mind at that moment?
You know what? Well, they yelled cramp right away, so we knew it was cramp. I mean, that's what they said because we were waiting to see whether, because, the rule is if Chad goes out there, you got to take him out of the game. And we were waiting to see if it, went away, and obviously it didn't. But you know what? We had Olivier, we FaceTimed him as soon as he went in. Olivier has talked to these guys. He talked to Brandon, I know, before the game, and he talked to Jonas before the game and told him, hey, you wanted an opportunity. It's here. Now let's see what you're going to do with it. That's the kind of team that we have. And that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier. These guys, they're playing for each other at a high degree, and we're not going to be perfect, but yet we've been able to fight through a lot. We've gone through a lot this year. We've had to fight through some adversity, but every time a player, whether like Josiah was really, devastated that he didn't make the shot at Texas, but the way his teammates picked him up and said, hey, we believe in you, he would tell you it's a huge thing. O would tell you the same thing. They've all had tough times, but we are a team now that they're locked in and where they're really helping each other through the tough times.
David Pascal, Grant Ramey, and Mike Wilson.
Rick, when you think about, I know you've had some lulls in games this year offensively, and there was a little one in the first half there that y'all had snapped out by late in the half. What do you think y'all are doing better to avoid those long scoring droughts that kind of seem to plague y'all earlier in the season?
Ball movement, player movement, better passes, and the lull started with 3 not so good shots. Zakai took a tough 3. Brandon threw up a left-handed shot. Kennedy shot an air ball that's what we did early in the year. I thought tonight when they made and again, we knew they were going to make a run. I mean, we weren't thinking we're just going to keep playing it at that. Even though we like to, I thought that because we got off to a good start shooting the ball, we kind of lulled ourselves into thinking it was going to be that easy, and it wasn't. So we came out 3 straight possessions, and I think they went on an 8-2 run during that point in time. But when we're moving the ball, playing with speed, getting it down the floor, start of the second half. That's why I took Kennedy out earlier. I didn't think he was pushing the ball the way we want to get it down there. And we want to get into action quick. We want to get into movement. We talk about our flow game, and when we get the ball moving and guys are able to catch the ball facing the basket as opposed to trying to drive. And again, we did over dribble too much during that period when we bogged down, and that is normally the case. But the fact is, we've gotten more consistent and not standing those lulls very, very long. We just want to get a good shot at it every time.
Rick, Kennedy played 34 minutes tonight. Santi and Josiah had 37. Is that something that can be sustained, or is that something where y'all are just adjusting without Olivier for right now?
Well, no, you know what, Grant? We're February, and I told those guys the other day, we really do monitor minutes, their workload in practice, and those two guys are old enough, mature enough, conditioned enough that they can do it. Do we want to do it every night? We don't, but that's why going forward, we're going to need more and more out of Brandon, out of Jonas, out of Folke, out of Urosh, and whether it's Justin, VJ, like we really thought tonight that we would have gotten Jemiah in the game, but the way it worked out at that point in time, Z being in foul trouble hurt us. That's going in was a big part of our thought on who was going to start. We didn't want any of our guards to pick up early fouls, but if there's guys that can log those minutes, it's those guys. Kennedy, I think he's more suited around 28 because I thought coming out at halftime he didn't come out quite with the same speed that we needed him to play with, but he did bounce back behind the guy between them. I think had 10 steals tonight. They got their hands on a lot of basketballs.
Rick, what did you think of Jonas? I mean, this is the most you've gotten to see him, and seemed like he held his own for the most part. Is this what you expected and what you've seen from him?
You know what, Mike, what I really like, I thought he looked like he belonged. I didn't think he looked awkward out there at any point in time. You know what? When we go zone, there's no doubt he gives us something that we don't have and we will have with him out there as a rim protector. They got one off early in the game that I was actually surprised, to be quite honest with you, that he got it up. He blocked that one into the rim. They called him for a goaltend, which it was a goaltend, it was a goaltend, but he does give us the rim protector. That little jump shot he shoots, I'm glad he shot it because he can make that shot at a high percentage. I thought Brandon held his own too. Brandon's got to get to the rim, and with his body, he's got to get into people and want to get himself to the foul line. But I thought overall he was in there mostly against some older guys that know how to use their bodies, but the more of those guys playing, we're going to need them. I mean, this is it. We're in it now. We're in the middle of it, and we're going to need them all. And I think everyone responded.
Finish up with Karthik, Ben, and Rob.
Hey, Coach. I know y'all have won 6 straight SEC games now. I know that Texas game was somewhere in the middle of there, but do you feel like there's something that's starting to click different for this team? Recently.
I don't know about to say it's any one thing. I mean, obviously we've been more consistent offensively. Defensively all year we've been a pretty solid defensive team, and again, I would say it. I think a lot of it goes back, and we've talked about it early in the year about accountability and leadership. We've got a team of guys now. I mean, I like watching them coach each other. It's been fun watching that, and that's a big part of it. I like the fact that they're talking. They come to the huddle. They're talking about what they see going on out there. We didn't have any of that early in the year. I thought early in the year, as the season starts with so many new guys, I think players are so wrapped up in wanting to play, and everybody thinks they're going to play. Just that's what they think. Then the season starts off and it doesn't work for everybody. Then you have to go through a period where you're trying to, keep everybody engaged. People aren't, totally bought into the whole team concept. There is no doubt we got a group of guys right now that have bought into this team and each other, and they are playing hard for each other. They're coaching each other. I think they're taking coaching from each other. And it took us to this point in the season to get to it, which with a group of young guys, I'm not surprised. I'm really not. But the fact is, like I said, it's been fun watching those guys handle each other.
Rick, does Jonas remind you of Kyle Alexander any, and just how beneficiary has it been that he can kind of sit and watch to this point in the year, whereas Kyle maybe didn't have that benefit?
Well, Kyle didn't have that, I mean, Kyle did look like a baby giraffe starting, but but he was out there giving it everything he had. I mean, Jonas, Kyle came in, with the idea of, he was going to go to Texas with us and we were going to redshirt him, but he came in, we said, the roles changed. Now you're going to have to play. And he went some major growing pains, but you see what player he's become. And Jonas came in and it was all new to him, where Kyle didn't have a choice. We threw him, Kyle had to go. Jonas missed quite a bit of the preseason with some injuries when he was out. He's learned how to work hard. I think he's benefited from watching some guys on this team, older guys, the veterans work at it. He's learned from that. Like we were talking today, I was actually watching shoot around today, and it was really neat watching the older guys come in before we actually started shoot around. Their approach, where you could tell everything they did mattered, where the young guys still come in like, okay, we're waiting for shoot around to start. And that's part of the growing process where Jonas now understands if he does want to play, which he figured it out about, I'm going to say 2 weeks ago, somewhere in there, if he want to play, he better take everything serious in practice from the time he walks out there. He's done that. I think being on the scout team has helped all the freshmen. We put Brandon on it this week because we felt it would help him. I think it helped him. I think it's helped Jonas. I know it's helped Jamal. It's helped all of them because it gives them a chance to have to learn a lot of stuff on the go, plus our stuff. So they've got to go back and forth between the scout team and this. So all that I think has gone into helping all those guys understand that what we expect is a lot, but if they want to play, they're going to have to do it.
Coach, 4 minutes and 20 seconds left, 61-61, and then you guys close out 11-2. How proud are you of your guys for doing that and also doing it with two freshmen on the floor as your primary ball handlers?
Well, again, that's the team that we've kind of sort of have done it with most of the time, Rob. And I do think that, we knew they'd get up there. And, when they're pressing like that, when you've got 3 fouls to give, it's just very hard with two smaller guards because, what we wanted them to do was get it and go with, but we kept telling Fulke, they're not guarding you, just go get the ball. Just go get the ball, and they did a good job in, forcing us down there in the corners. We did have the jump ball in our favor, but we weren't, again, when you've got 3 fouls to give like they did, they can go all out. And it's hard because we've got to stop and they can run through passes. They can run out of bounds. We can't, but the fact that we closed it out, Sakai's free throws were big. He didn't, I don't know how many minutes he played in the second half, but he sat for quite a while. And I think that he came back and responded extremely well, but those were, again, those big minutes for those guys. But we've played enough basketball now. They've been in enough games right now, Rob. We ought to be able to handle it.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, guys.